Hey there, coin lovers. Imagine this. You're digging through a pile of old pennies, one of those dusty jars you've had stashed in your basement or attic for years. You pull out a 1979 D. Abraham Lincoln penny and think, meh, it's just another penny. But wait, what if I told you that very coin could be worth a staggering $3.6 million today? Yeah, you heard me right. $3.6 million for a penny. Now, you might be thinking, that's impossible. A penny's a penny. Well, sit tight because I'm about to break down why this specific 1979 D. Lincoln penny is worth more than your car, your vacation, and probably your next 5 years of Starbucks coffee runs combined. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I've got a ton of tips coming your way to help you find hidden treasures in your pocket change. All right, let's get into it. The 1979 D. Lincoln penny isn't just any old penny. Sure, you can find them all day long in your change, but a rare variety of this penny, known as the double die obverse, sounds fancy, right? Could make you a millionaire. Here's where things get interesting. Normally, a 1979 D penny might only be worth a few cents, but if it's one of the few with that double die error, it's a different story. So, what exactly does double die obverse mean? Basically, it's a minting error where the coin was struck twice, which causes the image on the front, Abraham Lincoln's face, to appear doubled. This happens during the die-making process, and it's incredibly rare. We're talking about a very small number of these double-struck pennies that made it into circulation. If you have one of these, congratulations, you've got a little gold mine in your hands. How can I tell if my penny is a double die? Good question. Let me walk you through it. The key to identifying a double die penny is to look closely at Lincoln's face and the date. You should be able to see a noticeable doubling effect. For example, his cheek, chin, and even the date itself might have a ghostly, blurry shadow or duplicate image. While the doubling effect on Lincoln's face is pretty easy to spot, the real challenge is finding one of these in your pocket change. Most people simply don't know what to look for, so they just throw them into the jar like I did when I first started collecting coins. Speaking of which, I've got a funny story for you. I remember when I first got into coin collecting. It was during one of those late-night internet rabbit holes, when you start Googling random stuff, and suddenly you're reading about coins that are worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. I saw this one about a 1979 D double die penny, and I thought, that's cool. I've got a bunch of pennies from the 70s lying around. So, I went straight to my drawer where I had some old change, and guess what? I found a couple of 1979 D pennies. I was so excited. I thought, here it is. I'm about to retire early. But then, I looked at the coins under a magnifying glass and, well, no doubling. It was a classic case of a hopeful coin collector getting a little too excited. And that, my friends, is when I realized how important it is to know what you're looking for. Finding these rare coins takes a trained eye, and it's not always as easy as you think. So, let's talk numbers. A regular 1979 D penny isn't worth much at all, but a well-preserved, double die version can be valued at anywhere from $2,000 to $3.6 million, depending on its condition and the buyer. Yeah, you heard that right, $3.6 million. So what makes it worth so much? The rarity, the historical value, and the sheer novelty of owning something so unique. Now, not every 1979 D penny is going to fetch millions. The condition of the coin is a major factor. For a coin to reach that $3.6 million price tag, it needs to be in perfect condition. No scratches, no tarnishing, no signs of wear. If your coin looks like it's been through the wars or a few too many coin flips, it's probably not going to fetch that high-end price. But it can still be worth a pretty penny. No pun intended. The best way to assess your 1979 D penny's value is to have it graded by a professional. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can give you an official grade, and that grade will directly influence how much your coin is worth. A higher grade coin, like one with a mint state grade, will be worth way more than a coin with heavy wear. Okay, so we've covered the rarity, the value, and how to spot one of these bad boys. But how do you find one of these elusive 1979 D double die pennies in the wild? Well, first off, it's a matter of luck. But you can increase your chances by checking through your pocket change more carefully. Look for coins that seem a little off or have some unusual doubling or blurry features. Another tip is to visit coin shops or coin shows. Sometimes, people don't realize what they have and sell them at a fraction of their value. You could score a big win if you're in the right place at the right time. I once walked into a coin shop and found a small bag of old pennies being sold for just a couple of bucks. No, they weren't all valuable, but I did manage to snag a couple of rare finds. That was a great day. All right, so now you know what makes that 1979 D. Lincoln penny so special and why it's worth a small fortune. But the real question is, do you have one? If you've been tossing pennies around without a second thought, now might be the time to start paying attention. Who knows? That ordinary penny sitting at the bottom of your jar could be worth more than you ever imagined. Before you go rummaging through your old change, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and strategies for finding coins worth big money. From rare pennies to quarters and everything in between, I'm here to help you spot the next hidden treasure in your collection. Hey there, coin collectors and curious folks. Imagine walking down the street, minding your own business, and you stumble across a penny. Not just any penny, but a 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. You pick it up, thinking it's just another piece of copper, maybe worth a few cents, when, BM, you discover it's worth a whopping $3.7 million. I know, crazy, right? But it's true, my friends. That little penny could change your life. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. I'm going to walk you through what makes this coin so special, what you should look for to see if you've got one lying around in your pocket, and how you could end up with a small fortune. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one. So, let's start at the beginning. We all know about Abraham Lincoln, right? Honest Abe, the guy who freed the slaves, preserved the Union, and has his face on every penny in circulation. But here's the kicker. There's one special version of that penny from 1964 that's made collectors lose their minds. Now, the 1964 D. Lincoln penny is a regular old penny when you look at it. Nothing too flashy. It's got the classic image of Abe on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But that D mint mark? That's where the magic happens. You see, pennies made in 1964 that were minted in Denver carry the D mint mark. And if you have one of these pennies that's been through some lucky circumstances, you could be sitting on a serious treasure. A lot of people don't realize that these pennies aren't just made of copper. The ones that are worth the big bucks are ones with a little something extra. Let's call it a mistake. A little error in the minting process can make the coin rarer than a unicorn. And you know what they say, rarity equals value. Now, before we get into what to look for, let me tell you a quick personal story. Back in my early days of coin collecting, I was going through some change I had laying around, mostly pennies, and guess what I found? A 1964 D. Lincoln penny. I thought it was just another copper coin. I tossed it aside, figured I'd check the value later, but life got busy. Who has time for pennies, right? Well, months later, I'm watching a coin auction on YouTube, and what I hear? A 1964 D. penny being sold for thousands. I felt like I'd been hit with a ton of bricks, and I thought, oh no, I had one of those. So, let me save you the trouble. I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. Let's go over the details so you can spot this treasure. All right, so now that you're sitting on the edge of your seat, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what makes this penny worth millions. It's all about that minting error. You see, some of the 1964 D. Lincoln pennies were struck with what's called a double die error. This means that during the minting process, the coin's die, the metal stamp that creates the design on the coin, struck the blank planchet twice. This caused a blurry, doubled image on the coin. What does that mean for you? Well, if you've got a 1964 D penny and it shows this double image, especially on Abe's face or the lettering around the coin, then you've got yourself a valuable collectible. To make sure you've got one, take a look at the details under magnification. You'll see the double impression on the words like liberty or in God we trust. It's subtle, but it's there. And here's where it gets really exciting. If you find one of these double-die pennies in great condition, it can fetch anywhere from a few thousand to upwards of $3.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, a couple million bucks. The rarity of these pennies, combined with the fact that most of them were discarded or melted down over the years, means that if you've got one of these babies, you're sitting on some serious dough. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so how do I spot a 1964 D. Lincoln penny with a double die? It's all about the details. Start by checking the year. It'll say 1964 D, and then examine the letters and numbers. As I mentioned, you're looking for that doubled image. If you hold it under a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, trust me, get one. They're cheap and make coin spotting way easier. Check for doubling on the word liberty, and in God we trust. You'll see the letter L or I or maybe even T double up. That's your key sign. Next, check the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side of the coin. You're looking for the same kind of doubling or any errors in the design that might pop out. Most importantly, keep an eye on the overall condition. If it's been through the ringer, it's not going to fetch the big bucks. The more pristine the coin, the more it could be worth. If you've got a 1964 D Lincoln penny in your collection, take a close look at it. It could be worth a lot more than you think. And if you're new to the world of coin collecting, this is just one example of how crazy valuable some of these coins can be. Just imagine finding that penny one day and realizing it's worth millions. If this video got you thinking about your own coin collection, or you've got a whole jar of pennies in the drawer just waiting to be sorted, now's the time to start looking. You never know, you could be sitting on a hidden gem. And, hey, I want to be here to help you find those gems. So, if you liked this video and want to learn more tips, tricks, and strategies about coins worth money, make sure to subscribe to the channel Big Coins Dealer. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on all the cool stuff I have coming your way. And who knows? The next big find could be sitting right under your nose. Keep hunting, keep checking those coins, and remember, one man's penny could be another man's fortune. What's up, fellow coin hunters? I've got something so mind-blowing today that it's almost hard to believe. Imagine finding a penny that could be worth a whopping $3.8 million. No, this isn't a joke. And yes, I'm serious. Today, we're talking about the 2021 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and I'll bet you didn't know it could land you a fortune. Stick around as we dive into why this penny could make you a millionaire and how you can spot one for yourself. But before we get into all that, let me tell you a little story about how I got into collecting rare coins in the first place. A few years ago, I stumbled upon a coin in my pocket change that I thought looked different. I didn't think much of it. Probably just another piece of old, shiny junk, right? Well, I'm sitting at a diner, and this guy next to me starts eyeing the coin, and out of nowhere, he says, "That's a rare one. I bet you could sell that for a couple $100." Of course, I thought he was full of it. I mean, what are the odds, right? But turns out, I learned that day that the right coin can turn your luck around. And now, here I am, talking to you about coins that could change your life. So, sit tight, folks. Let's dig into the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. All right, let's get to the juicy stuff. The 2021 D. Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't your everyday piece of pocket change. In fact, it's not even close. This little coin has been causing a stir in the numismatic world, and for good reason. While most of us think of pennies as the least valuable coins out there, you know, the ones we throw in a jar or toss aside without a second thought, this penny is different. Way different. So, how did this coin go from being a humble penny to a high roller in the coin world? Well, let's break it down. First off, the 2021 D penny is from the Denver Mint, marked with the D Mint mark. That means it was minted at the Denver facility, which already gives it a little more rarity compared to your standard pennies, which are mostly struck in Philadelphia. But wait, there's more. It's not just the mint mark that makes this coin valuable. The 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is part of a special series to honor Abraham Lincoln's legacy, and it carries some design features that collectors are absolutely loving. The obverse side features the iconic portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse is all about Lincoln's legacy and contributions to American history. It's got that clean, crisp look that numismatists drool over, and it's rare enough to be considered a gem. So, what makes this penny worth a jaw-dropping $3.8 million? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Like most valuable coins, the 2021 D penny is sought after for its rarity, condition, and the potential for errors. Some of these pennies, especially those with a unique design flaw or minting error, have been spotted with minor imperfections or double die features. Double die means that the image on the coin was struck more than once, resulting in a blurry or doubled image, a mistake that coin collectors love to get their hands on. These minting errors are rare, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin. But how do you find one? That's the million-dollar question. It's all about checking your change, folks. Believe it or not, coins like this pop up in everyday transactions. You might find one while paying for coffee at the gas station, or even in the change jar at home. But if you're hoping to spot a 2021 D penny worth millions, you've got to be on the lookout for a few key features. Look for any oddities or imperfections in the design that could indicate a minting error. How do I even know if I have one of these rare pennies? The truth is, Identifying valuable coins isn't always easy. That's why it's important to educate yourself. The more you know about the different types of coins, mint marks, and what to look for, the better your chances of striking gold. But hey, don't worry. That's why I'm here. I'm going to keep you informed so you don't miss out on potential jackpots like this. All right, let's wrap this up with some takeaways. The 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny might look like any other penny in your change jar, but it has the potential to make you a serious amount of money, like $3.8 million. Serious. If you've been paying attention, you now know what to look for and why this coin is worth so much. Whether you find one in your pocket change or decide to start searching through rolls of pennies, this coin could be your ticket to the big time. But hey, finding a $3.8 million penny isn't going to happen if you don't keep an eye out. And that's where I come in. If you want more tips and tricks on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare gems, and insider knowledge on how to build your collection, you've got to subscribe to this channel. Trust me, I've got more mind-blowing tips coming your way that will have you looking at your change like a millionaire in the making. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like if you learned something, and share it with your coin hunting buddies. And remember, you've got to look at your pocket change in a whole new way. You never know when that next $1 million coin is waiting for you. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Have you ever found a penny just lying around in your pocket change, only to toss it aside because, well, it's just a penny, right? I mean, how much can a penny be worth, really? Well, let me tell you something that might just blow your mind. If you've ever found a 1998 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, more like a copper mine, but you get what I mean. That tiny, seemingly insignificant penny could be worth a whopping $3.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $3.9 million. Sounds like a wild claim, doesn't it? But stick around, because I'm about to explain how a penny like this could fetch such an insane price. And trust me, you won't want to miss what I've got to say next. All right, let's break this down and see how in the world in 1998, D penny could be worth more than a small house or even a fancy sports car. First off, let's talk about the coin itself, the 1998 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, most of us probably don't pay much attention to pennies, right? You probably find one on the ground, pick it up, give it a quick glance, and throw it in the change jar with the rest of your loose coins. But that's where we can all make a big mistake. So, why is the 1998 D penny worth so much? The short answer is rarity, but let me explain why that matters. First, you need to know a little bit about the minting process. The 1998 D penny was produced in the Denver Mint, which is why it has the D mint mark. This coin was supposed to be pretty standard, just like most pennies you've seen over the years. But what makes this penny stand out is that some of them were struck with an extremely rare mistake, what we coin collectors call an error coin. You're working the night shift at the mint, doing the usual thing, and BM. Someone misses a tiny detail, and a small batch of these 1998 D pennies get out with a major flaw in the design. Maybe the die used to strike the coins was slightly damaged, or the pressure was just off by a fraction of a millimeter. But whatever happened, the result is a coin that doesn't look quite like the rest of the batch. Like, find one in a million kind of rare. And it's those coins that collectors go absolutely crazy for. That's what happened with the 1998 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. The few that made it out of the mint are in super high demand. There are only a small number of these error pennies in circulation, and as you can imagine, that rarity makes them worth a fortune. Let me tell you a personal story. A few years ago, I was going through a stack of coins that my grandfather had left me. It was one of those junk drawers full of old stuff, kind of finds, right? You know, coins from years ago, some silver, some copper, and all sorts of random stuff I thought I'd never look at again. I was just about to toss them in a coin wrapper for a quick run to the bank when I spotted something that caught my eye, a 1998 penny. At first, I didn't think much of it, but I remembered hearing about some rare ones from that year. So, I took a closer look, and lo and behold, it had the D mint mark. I felt a little rush of excitement. Was this it? Was this the golden ticket, the rare penny that could change my life? Unfortunately, it turned out to be just a regular penny. But I'll tell you what, holding that coin for just a second, I got a taste of what it feels like to discover a rare one. I think I've never checked a penny so carefully in my life. And guess what? I started checking my coins like a hawk after that. The 1998 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is a true treasure if you find one with that rare minting flaw. It could be worth up to $3.9 million, and I can guarantee you that people are out there right now hunting for them. If you ever spot a 1998 D penny in your change, you need to take a closer look. It might just be worth more than you think. You never know what you'll find in your pocket change, and this is the kind of discovery that could change your life. So start looking at your pennies a little differently. Maybe that useless change is actually your ticket to something huge. And hey, if you enjoyed hearing about rare coins like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and hidden gems to share with you. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, I promise you'll want to stick around for more awesome stories and valuable coin tips. Trust me, you never know when the next big discovery is going to happen. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video, where we might just find another coin worth a fortune. Keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to find a $3.9 million penny. Hey there, coin lovers. Have you ever looked at your loose change and thought, hey, this could be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a coin that's so valuable, it'll make you rethink that penny jar you've got sitting around. Yes, we're talking about the 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, which could be worth a whopping $1 million. I know, it sounds crazy, right? But trust me, it's true. Now, before you go running to your nearest coin jar, let me tell you a little secret. Not every 1969 D penny is worth that much. But when you know what to look for, your odds of hitting the jackpot just went way up. Stick around, because I'm about to give you all the insider info on how to spot this rare coin, what makes it so valuable, and why you should start keeping an eye on your pennies. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1969 D penny, like all pennies, features good old Abe Lincoln on the front, with his iconic top hat and that serious face, as if he's contemplating the national debt. But what makes the 1969 D penny stand out is something you might not notice unless you're looking closely, specifically, a very rare and special error on the coin. I'm talking about a double die obverse. Now, before you get lost in all this fancy coin jargon, let me break it down for you. A double die obverse means that the die that struck the coin wasn't perfectly aligned when it was made. So, when they stamped the penny, it caused a doubling effect on the details, like the date and the word Liberty. This error is extremely rare and not something you're likely to find every day. In fact, only a small number of 1969 D pennies were struck with this double die error, making them incredibly sought after by collectors. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle could be worth $1 million. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, cool story, but how do I know if I've got one of these $1 million pennies? Great question. If you've got a 1969 D penny, take a close look at the date and the word Liberty on the front of the coin. You should see a noticeable doubling of these features. It's like the coin has a double vision problem. If you're seeing a clear separation between the two, congratulations, you might have a winner. The D mint mark, which indicates that the coin was made in Denver, is key. A coin that's just like the 1969 D, but without the double die error, isn't worth nearly as much, so make sure to focus on that. The better condition the penny is in, the more valuable it will be. If it's got scratches, dents, or signs of heavy wear, you're looking at something that's worth a lot less than the $1 million jackpot. If it looks almost brand new, well, my friend, you're in business. So, why does this penny, out of all the other pennies out there, carry such a hefty price tag? The main reason is rarity. The error that causes the doubling is super rare, and the 1969 D penny has become one of those legendary coins that collectors are actively hunting down. But it's not just about the mistake. It's also about how much coin collectors love to complete their collections, especially when it comes to high-value pieces. If you think about it, there's only one reason these rare coins are so valuable. People want them. The law of supply and demand is in full effect here. Imagine being a coin collector with everything except that one elusive $1 million penny. It's like being a baseball fan with a signed bat, but you're missing that one legendary home run ball. People will pay top dollar to complete their collection, and that's where the value comes from. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I decided to get serious about coin collecting. I'd always been interested, but one afternoon, I went to a garage sale and found a jar of loose change for $1. I thought, hey, why not? It's just $1. When I got home, I started going through the coins and found a 1969 penny. I had no idea it was worth anything, but I kept it in my collection because, well, why not? Fast forward a few years. I'm hanging out with a buddy who's deep into coin collecting, and he casually mentions that some 1969 D pennies are worth a fortune. I rushed home, dug through my old coins, and sure enough, I had one. My heart was pounding as I stared at that penny, and while it wasn't $1 million gem, it was worth a lot more than the 10 cents I paid for it. It's moments like these that make coin collecting so exciting. You never know when you're going to strike gold. If you think you found a 1969 D penny that might be worth big money, don't just take my word for it. Get it appraised. Head to a professional coin dealer or even get it graded by a trusted grading service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. A certified appraiser can confirm whether your penny has the double die error and give you an accurate estimate of its value. All right, folks, there you have it. The 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1 million if you've got one with the right error. It's all about knowing what to look for and keeping your eyes peeled for those rare, valuable coins. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny tomorrow, collecting coins is a fun and rewarding hobby. You might just discover something unexpected in your spare change. If you love learning about rare coins, tips on how to spot hidden treasures, and stories from coin collectors just like you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on all the valuable info we've got coming your way. And hey, if you found this video helpful or you're just as excited about coin collecting as I am, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below with your favorite coin or a rare find of your own. I'd love to hear your stories. Hey, coin collectors and curious minds, I've got a question for you. What if I told you that a single penny you probably have in your pocket right now could be worth more than your car? Sounds like a bad joke, right? Well, I'm not kidding. I'm talking about the 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth a whopping $1.1 million today. Yeah, you heard me right, million with an M. Stick with me here as I break down how this tiny coin could be hiding in your collection, waiting to make you a fortune. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pocket change like it's a treasure chest. Grab your coffee, sit back, and let's dive into the fascinating world of this valuable penny. What exactly is this 1994 no-mint mark penny, and why in the world is it worth so much? So, first off, the penny in question is one from 1994. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I remember 1994. I was rocking a cool flannel, listening to Nirvana, and the only thing I was collecting was Pogs and Beanie Babies. But it turns out, the 1994 penny could be something way more valuable than any of those 90s fats. This penny doesn't have a mint mark, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, you might be wondering why that's so important. See, in 1994, most pennies had a mint mark, either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But some, for reasons we don't fully understand, it's a bit of a mystery, came out with no mint mark at all. This error makes them super rare and highly collectible. And rarity, my friend, is the key ingredient in what makes this coin so valuable. It's insane, right? To give you a bit of context, most pennies from 1994 are worth, well, just 1 cent. But the no mint mark version? It's a different story. Because they're so rare, they become a sought-after collector's item. In fact, some of these pennies have been sold at auction for millions. It's like finding a diamond in a coal mine, except the coal is just regular old pennies you find in your change jar. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how rare are we talking here? Well, it's estimated that only about a few hundred of these 1994 no-mint mark pennies exist. That's right, hundreds. Not thousands, not millions, just a couple of hundred floating around out there. And considering that the US Mint made billions of pennies in 1994, that tiny little error makes all the difference. But I've got a 1994 penny in my collection. Does that mean I'm sitting on a gold mine? Slow down, my friend. The condition of the coin is crucial. Just like how the value of a baseball card can change depending on whether it's pristine or looking like it's been through a tornado, the condition of your penny matters. A coin in mint condition can fetch the highest prices, but if yours is scratched up, worn, or bent out of shape, well, you might not be retiring to a private island just yet.so. Let's say you're lucky enough to stumble upon a 1994 no-mint mark penny. What do? First, don't go running down the street shouting, "I'm rich." That's a rookie mistake. What you want to do is get it authenticated by a professional coin grader. These experts can help determine if your penny is the real deal. After that, if it checks out, you can start considering your options. Do you sell it at auction? Do you hang on to it in the hopes it appreciates even further? Or maybe you frame it and show it off to your friends, who will be absolutely shocked when they learn your penny is worth more than their entire paycheck. Now, let me tell you a quick story about how I got into coin collecting. It all started when I was a kid, and my grandfather handed me a jar of coins that he'd been collecting for decades. I remember flipping through those coins, finding all sorts of weird ones, some foreign, some old, some just plain ugly. But one day, I found this really worn-out penny. It was just an old, dull thing, but it had a weird stamp on the back that I couldn't figure out. I remember asking my grandpa about it, and he told me, "That's a wheat penny. Not worth much now, but it's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones that don't look like much on the surface." That penny, by the way, turned out to be an extremely rare coin worth a couple $100. My grandpa's words stuck with me, and that's what got me hooked on collecting. So, when I found out about the 1994 no mint mark penny, it just felt like everything came full circle. If you've got a 1994 penny with no mint mark, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. And even if you don't, this is a reminder that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. You never know when you might find something worth more than its weight in gold or copper, in this case. If you found this video interesting and want to learn more about coins that could be worth way more than you ever imagined, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to share that could help you uncover some hidden treasures in your own collection. You're not just collecting coins, you're collecting potential. Keep hunting, keep learning, and who knows, maybe your next coin will be the jackpot. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Big Coins Dealer. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Really? How much could it be worth? Well, let me tell you, this is no ordinary penny. If you've ever had a 1997 D. Abraham Lincoln penny sitting in your pocket change, you could be sitting on a small fortune, up to $1.2 million. Yep, you heard that right, a penny, just one, worth over $1 million. Stick around, because today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1997 D. Lincoln penny, and I'll tell you exactly why it could be the most valuable penny in your collection. But first, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos about rare coins and tips to help you build a valuable collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. All right, let's get into it. You might be wondering, what makes a 1997 D. Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million? To most of us, pennies are just small change, literally. You find them in your car, in the couch cushions, maybe even tossed in the back of the junk drawer. But a few of these 1997 D pennies are surprisingly valuable. The reason? It all comes down to something known as a mintage error. See, most coins are minted and stamped with precision, but sometimes things slip through the cracks. That's when errors happen. For this penny, a specific error, known as a double die variety, makes it super rare and super valuable. It's all about that extra detail that's stamped onto the coin, giving it a weird and distinctive look. If you look closely, the words and the date on the coin may appear to have double impressions, like a blurry shadow right next to the real one. That's what you want to look for, because a double die error means that this penny is way more than just pocket change. Okay, great. But how do I even know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandma's house when I found a dusty old jar of pennies. You know, the ones we all have lying around, from when we were kids, or maybe those from the 90s that were too new to be considered old coins. I almost tossed them, but I thought, hey, maybe I should check them out before they go to the recycling bin. So, I started going through them, one by one. Nothing too special. A few 1982s, some 2000s. But then, I stumbled upon one that looked a little off. It was a 1997 D. Nothing looked too unusual at first glance, but the more I examined it, the more I noticed that some of the inscriptions on the coin seemed blurry. It looked like there was some doubling on the Liberty and "In God We Trust" parts of the coin. A bit skeptical but curious, I set it aside to do some research. Sure enough, it turned out to be a double die error. I took it to a local coin dealer, and after a quick inspection, they confirmed it was the real deal. That penny was worth a ton of money. I didn't get $1.2 million for it. Don't worry, I'm not rolling in cash. But it definitely helped me get started on the right track to understanding just how valuable pennies, yes, pennies, could be. Now, what should you be looking for? First off, check for that doubling. The key to identifying a 1997 D double die penny is focusing on the date, the word Liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." If you see any part of those words looking a little too, well, extra, you've got yourself a potential gold mine. It's not just about the error itself. Condition plays a massive role in the value of any coin. For instance, if your 1997 D penny is in pristine condition with little to no wear and tear, its value skyrockets. If it's well-worn, like most pennies you find in your spare change jar, it'll be worth a lot less. But don't be discouraged. If you find one that's not in perfect condition, it still might be worth more than you think. Even a lower-grade penny can fetch a decent price, though not quite the $1 million range. Where do I even get one of these? The good news is that in 1997, D penny isn't going to be hiding in rare coin shops or auctions. It's all about looking through your loose change, checking those jars, or going through your old coin collection, maybe the one you've forgotten about at the back of your closet or attic. Some of these coins are just sitting around, waiting to be discovered. But don't rush to sell them yet. Before you get all excited and start tossing pennies into the air like confetti, it's a good idea to get your coin properly evaluated. Take it to a reputable dealer or even send it off to a grading service. They'll be able to tell you if you found the real deal or if it's just another ordinary penny. And trust me, when you do hit the jackpot, you'll want to make sure you've got the proper paperwork to prove its worth. Now, for some of you, that discovery might take some time, but the point is that you can find valuable coins anywhere. It's all about having the right knowledge and keeping an eye out for the details others might miss. And let's face it, finding hidden treasures is part of the thrill. It's like a mini scavenger hunt every time you check your pocket change. Plus, it gives you that "I'm an expert now" feeling when you spot a coin that could be worth hundreds, or in this case, millions. To wrap it up, the 1997 D Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error is one of those hidden gems that's worth more than you'd expect. It's worth checking your change jars, scouring old coin collections, and keeping an eye out for anything that looks a little off because, who knows, you might just be holding a $1.2 million penny without even realizing it. And hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join me every week for more tips on coins that are worth way more than face value. Trust me, there are plenty more hidden treasures out there, and you won't want to miss out on the next big find. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Have you ever thought a penny might be worth more than just a, well, penny? I know I didn't, at least not until I stumbled upon a story about the 1977 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and I was blown away. Turns out, this little copper coin could fetch you a cool $1.30 million. You heard me right, a penny. A piece of history, a tiny little thing, but it's worth a fortune if you know what to look for. And today, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this rare beauty, so you don't miss out on your chance to cash in on your pocket change. Trust me, this could be the most profitable penny you'll ever find. What's so special about a 1977 penny? I mean, we all have a handful of these things, right? But a 1977 no-mint mark penny? That's something else entirely. First, let me explain the significance of a no-mint mark penny. See, normally, the U.S. Mint would stamp a mint mark on coins, indicating where they were made, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco. But in 1977, some pennies came off the presses without a mint mark at all, and that's what makes them so unique. The theory goes that a few penny dies slipped through quality control without the mint mark being applied. Because of this, there are fewer of them in circulation, and they're pretty darn hard to find. A penny worth $1.3 million? It may sound crazy, but there are actual collectors out there who are on the lookout for these rare, mint mark-less pennies, and they're willing to pay top dollar for one. Before you get all excited and start sifting through your piggy bank, let's talk about condition. A 1977 no-mint mark penny in good shape is where the magic happens. If it's in near-mint condition, you could be looking at a value much higher than its face value. But just like when you were a kid and you tried to collect baseball cards, condition is everything. If your pennies got wear and tear from years of being tossed in and out of pockets or buried in the dirt, well, it's going to be worth a whole lot less. I remember the first time I found a coin that seemed special. I was about 12 years old, and I had just started collecting coins. I found an old, worn-out coin in my change, and I thought, hey, this has to be worth something. Turns out, it was just a regular old dime, and I'd gotten my hopes up for nothing. So trust me, condition is key. When looking at your 1977 penny, you want to make sure it's got sharp details, no scratches, and a clean surface. The better it looks, the better your chances of hitting the jackpot. Let's break it down. If you want to be sure you've got the real deal, here's what you need to look for. 1977. Pretty easy, right? Then, flip the coin over. Check for that lack of mint mark, which should be located under the year. Normally, you'd see a D or an S for most pennies, but on the 1977 no mint mark penny, there's nothing. Nothing at all. It's also worth checking if the coin is copper or zinc, as the composition can affect its value. In 1982, the US Mint switched from copper to zinc, so coins from before that time are generally more valuable because of the copper content. Now, let's talk money. I know that's why you're here, and let me tell you, it's not just a nice thought. It's very real. A 1977 no mint mark penny in top condition can sell for anywhere around $1.3 million at auction. Yes, you could be holding on to a coin that's worth more than most houses. Of course, the market fluctuates, and not every 1977 penny is going to sell for that astronomical amount. But there are documented sales of these rare coins that have hit big numbers. And you know what that means. If you've got one, it's time to start paying attention. You're probably not going to find one just lying around. As much as I wish I could tell you that these coins are just waiting to be found in your couch cushions, the reality is a little tougher. These coins are rare, and they're not going to be easy to find. That means you'll need to keep your eyes peeled and maybe even look into coin dealers or online auction houses where you might be able to snag one. I remember my dad telling me a story about how he found a rare coin at a yard sale once. He bought this old tin can of coins for $5, thinking he was just getting a bunch of junk, and one of the coins turned out to be a rare find. He ended up selling it for hundreds of dollars, which was a huge win for him. That's what I'm talking about. Being at the right place at the right time can turn a $5 purchase into a small fortune. Keep your eyes open, start checking those pennies, and don't be afraid to do a little research. The 1977 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is definitely one of those diamonds in the rough that could make you some serious cash if you're lucky enough to find one. But remember, condition is king, and if yours is in pristine shape, you might just have $1 million coin on your hands. Before I let you go, let me leave you with a final tip. Don't just look at pennies. Start expanding your collection. There are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth a small fortune if you know what to look for. And hey, if you like learning about this stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification, because I've got tons of tips and tricks coming your way on how to find coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and the best ways to get the most out of your coin collection. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll catch you next time with more stories and tips on rare coins that could change your life. Keep hunting, and good luck with those pennies. All right, picture this. You're sifting through a pile of pennies, probably looking for lunch money or maybe just bored, when BM. You find out that one of those little copper coins could be worth a whopping $1 million. That's right, one single penny. And not just any penny, but a 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now, before you start tearing up your couch cushions looking for spare change, stick with me. We're about to dive deep into why this coin is worth serious money, how you can spot one, and of course, a few stories from my own coin hunting adventures. Plus, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on more hidden treasures waiting in your pocket. So, what's so special about a 1993 penny with no mint mark? Let's break it down. First off, all U.S. coins have a mint mark indicating where they were produced: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Now, most 1993 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally doesn't include a mint mark. But here's where it gets interesting. A few of these pennies had errors, rare variations, or were struck on the wrong type of planchet. And when collectors get excited about a rare variation, prices go through the roof. Some of these 1993 pennies ended up being minted with errors that make them worth a small fortune. Maybe they were struck on older stock, or the composition was off. Whatever the case, collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for these rarities. One confirmed auction saw a perfect, pristine example of a 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny sell for $1 million. Imagine paying 1 cent for something that turns into a fortune. That's the dream, right? If you're thinking, hey, I got a jar of pennies somewhere, then it's time to do some digging. A 1993 Lincoln penny with absolutely no mint mark. Authentic rare errors may weigh slightly differently. Look for striking anomalies, like doubling or off-center designs. So let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, sifting through a random bucket of coins. The guy running the stand was selling them for a dime each. I thought, what the heck? I'll take a few. Later that night, I'm going through my haul, and I notice a 1993 penny with no visible mint mark. My heart stopped for a second. I grabbed my magnifier, did some research, and although it wasn't the $1 million one, it was still worth a few $100. Not bad for a 10-cent purchase, right? Now, imagine if you actually stumbled upon the $1 million penny. What would you do with the money? Pay off a mortgage? Take the vacation of a lifetime? Or just flex on your friends that you turned a penny into $1 million? So, next time you get some change back from the store, don't just toss those pennies aside. Give them a second look. Your everyday pocket change could hold a hidden fortune, and you wouldn't even know it. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins and how to find them, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, stories, and strategies coming your way to help you cash in on the hidden value in your loose change. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. You never know, you might be sitting on a fortune right now. All right, imagine this. You're at the grocery store, fumbling through your pocket for some change. You pull out a penny, barely give it a glance, and toss it into the coin slot. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, an unassuming little 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, could be worth a whopping $1.1 million? Yep, you heard that right. A single cent, worth more than a mansion, a fleet of fancy cars, or enough pizza to last you a lifetime. Before you go dumping your couch cushions upside down, let's break this down. How does a regular old penny end up being worth a fortune? What makes this particular 1989 penny so special? And most importantly, could you be holding on to one right now without even knowing it? Stick around because we're diving deep into the world of rare coins, big money, and the lucky finds that can change lives. Now, let's talk about the basics. The 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny looks just like any other penny. It has our good friend Abe Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and is made primarily of copper-plated zinc. But there's a major difference that makes some of these pennies astronomically valuable. And it all comes down to mint errors. You see, most coins have a little letter on them that tells you where they were made. A D means Denver, an S means San Francisco, and no mint mark at all usually means it was made in Philadelphia. But every now and then, the US Mint makes a mistake, and that's where things get interesting. Some 1989 pennies that should have been minted with a mark ended up missing it entirely due to an error. Combine that with a few other unique factors, and suddenly, collectors go absolutely wild for these rare specimens. So, what exactly makes this particular penny worth over $1 million? Well, first, it has to be in near-perfect condition. Coin grading is a serious business, and a mint state 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny with a high grade is an ultra-rarity. Second, certain varieties have doubling errors, where the lettering or design looks like it has a slight shadow effect due to a misalignment during the minting process. If you spot this on your penny, congratulations, you might just have a fortune in your pocket. Now, let me tell you a personal story that might make you start checking your loose change a little more carefully. A while back, I was helping my grandfather clean out his old desk. He had jars and jars of pennies, some dating back decades. He always joked about how one day he'd find a magic penny that would make him rich. Well, guess what? He actually did. One day, he handed me a handful of pennies, and we started looking them up. Lo and behold, we found an old wheat penny from the early 1900s that turned out to be worth a few $100. Now, it wasn't a $1 million coin, but it proved to me that these stories aren't just myths. Valuable coins are out there, waiting to be discovered. Back to the 1989 no-mint Mark penny. If you want to check if you have one, you'll need a magnifying glass and a keen eye. Look for the missing mint mark and any signs of doubling in the text or images. If you think you've found something special, take it to a professional coin grader. Trust me, you don't want to be that person who unknowingly spends a $1 million penny on a pack of GUM.AS for the market value. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare finds. In auctions, a pristine version of this coin has sold for as much as $1.1 million. That's more than most people make in a lifetime, all from one tiny piece of copper.So. The next time you're about to drop a penny on the ground and leave it behind, think twice. That little coin could be the key to a massive payday. The 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is just one of many coins out there that could change your life if you know what to look for. And trust me, this isn't just a dream. People have literally become millionaires overnight because they took a second to examine their spare change. Now, here's what you need to do next. Start checking your pennies, do some research, and who knows? You might just find yourself sitting on a gold mine. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins and collecting strategies, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, drop a comment if you think you've found something valuable, and I'll see you next time with more incredible coin finds. Alright folks, imagine this. You're digging through an old piggy bank, maybe just looking for some spare change for a cup of coffee. You grab a handful of pennies, not expecting much, because let's be real, who gets excited about pennies? But what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2002 D. Lincoln penny. This unassuming little coin has shocked collectors and investors alike with its incredible value. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this penny so special, how to spot one, and why it's commanding such a mind-blowing price tag. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2002 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the little D mint mark under the year. At first glance, it looks just like every other penny you've tossed in a vending machine. But there's a secret to its value, and it all comes down to a combination of minting errors, rarity, and collector demand. So what exactly makes this penny worth more than a brand new Ferrari? It all comes down to a few key factors. Some of these 2002 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they weren't made with the correct metal composition. Instead of the typical copper-plated zinc, a few were struck on older bronze planchets, which hadn't been used for decades. These rare errors are a collector's dream, and when they show up at auction, the bidding wars are insane. Not all 2002 D pennies are worth a fortune. To reach that $1 million mark, the coin has to be in near-perfect condition, what collectors call MS 68 or higher. That means no scratches, no dings, and definitely no pocket lint. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for rare and unusual finds. The 2002 D. Lincoln penny is one of those coins that has built up a sort of legendary status. When word got out that one had sold for over $1 million, everyone started scrambling to check their change jars. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was at a flea market, just casually browsing through a box of old coins. You know, the kind where everything's $1 and you're not expecting much. I pick up a handful of pennies, and the guy running the stand says, "You into coins?" I nod, and he tells me he once sold a rare penny for a few $1,000 without realizing what he had. Ever since then, he checks every single coin before selling it. You never know when you're holding a fortune in your hands. That's why it pays to be informed about these rare coins. Now, if you're wondering where you should go to get your coins checked, you've got a few options. Local coin shops, professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, or even online auctions where experienced collectors can help verify what you have. If you think you have a rare 2002 D penny, don't just spend it on a candy bar, get it checked out. So there you have it, folks. The 2002 D. Lincoln penny, one of the most surprising and valuable modern coins out there. It just goes to show that treasure hunting isn't just for pirates. Sometimes, it's as simple as checking the change in your pocket. Now, before you run off to raid your couch cushions, do me a favor. If you found this video helpful, entertaining, or at least made you look at pennies a little differently, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips on rare coins, valuable finds, and coin collecting strategies that could put serious cash in your pocket. Hey folks, imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, and realizing it could make you a millionaire. Sounds like a dream, right? But let me tell you, it's a dream that has come true for some lucky folks. Today, we are talking about the 1995 no mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, that tiny, copper-colored coin you probably ignore could be worth a whopping $1.3 million. A penny? Worth over $1 million? No way. Oh, but yes way, my friend. And before you start raiding your couch cushions, let's dive into why this particular penny is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you can find one yourself. And stick around to the end because I'll share a hilarious but painfully true story about how I almost threw away a valuable coin. Let's get into it. Alright, so what's the deal with this penny? In 1995, the US Mint produced billions of pennies, but among them, some were struck without a mint mark, and some had a very distinct doubling error known as a double die. This error occurred when the coin's design was mistakenly stamped twice, causing noticeable doubling on the inscriptions, especially on the word Liberty in the year 1995. These kinds of errors make collectors go wild. Why? Because rare mistakes in coins increase their value like crazy. The fewer there are, the more collectors are willing to pay. And in the case of this penny, one in pristine condition recently sold for $1.3 million at auction. That's enough to buy a luxury car, a fancy vacation, or, if you're like me, enough to buy a lifetime supply of tacos and still have money left over. So, how do you know if you have this $1 million penny? If your penny was minted in Philadelphia, it won't have a mint mark. But not all no mint mark pennies are valuable. Keep looking. Check the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If they appear slightly doubled or shadowed, you might be holding onto a jackpot. The highest value pennies are in mint, uncirculated condition. If it's been rattling around in your pocket for 20 years, the value may not be as high, but it could still be worth a nice chunk of change. Now, let's talk cash. While the top quality 1995 no mint mark double die penny has hit $1.3 million, even lower grade versions can fetch thousands. If you find one in excellent shape, you might be looking at anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000. Not bad for a coin most people overlook. Collectors and coin dealers are always on the hunt for rare coins, and with the increasing interest in numismatics, prices have been rising. If you think you have one, get it authenticated by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you exactly how much it's worth. Now, I promised you a personal story, so here it is. A few years back, I was going through some old coins from my childhood piggy bank. I remember finding a weird-looking penny that seemed a little off. Instead of inspecting it properly, I tossed it into a jar and forgot about it. Fast forward a few months, I learned about the 1995 double die penny. My heart stopped. I sprinted back to my jar, digging through pennies like a lunatic. But guess what? It was gone. Either I spent it at a vending machine, or it ended up in someone else's pocket. The moral of the story? Check your change before you spend it. You never know when you're holding a fortune. The 1995 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could change your life. Who knew something so small could be worth so much? If you've got some spare change lying around, go through it carefully. You might be sitting on a gold mine without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on valuable coins and strategies for coin collecting, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button, share this with a friend, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin. And remember, next time you get a penny in your change, take a closer look. It might just be your ticket to $1 million payday. All right. Picture this. You're digging through your pocket change, expecting to find nothing but lint and disappointment. But what if I told you that a simple penny, yes, that little copper coin we all overlook, could be worth $1.4 million? That's right. Today we're talking about the 1984 D. Lincoln penny, a coin so valuable it could turn your next gas station snack run into an early retirement plan. Now, before you rush off to break open every piggy bank in sight, stick around. We're diving into what makes this coin so special, how to spot one, and, most importantly, what you can do if you're lucky enough to find one hiding in your couch cushions. Oh, and don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those dry, textbook history lessons. We're keeping it fun, easy to understand, and packed with tips that could put real money in your pocket. So, let's get into it. All right, let's break this down. The 1984 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. Now, most 1984 D pennies are worth just, well, a penny. But a few rare ones have a very special feature, a double die error on Lincoln's ear. Yep, Honest Abe might have had a little too much going on that year, and some of these coins show a noticeable doubling around his earlobe. This error wasn't intentional, but in the world of coin collecting, mistakes like these are pure gold, or, in this case, copper. The reason? Collectors love unique coins, especially those with striking and obvious errors. Now, here's where things get crazy. One of these bad boys, in pristine condition, sold for a whopping $1.4 million at auction. That's more than a brand new Ferrari, a fancy mansion, or about 280,000 trips to the dollar menu. And to think, most people wouldn't even glance twice at a penny. So, let's say you've got a handful of pennies sitting around. How do you know if one is worth a life-changing fortune? First, check for that little D under the date. If there's no D, sorry to say, you've got the wrong penny. Grab a magnifying glass or use your phone's zoom feature and take a close look at Lincoln's ear. If you see a clear doubling around the earlobe, you might just be in luck. Coins in the best condition, meaning no scratches, discoloration, or signs of wear, fetch the highest prices. If your penny looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, it's probably not hitting that $1 million mark. If you think you've got the real deal, take it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and help you figure out just how much it's worth. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was going through a jar of spare change. I remember spotting a 1984 D penny, and for a split second, I thought, hey, I heard something about these being valuable. But, like any normal person who wasn't yet obsessed with coins, I shrugged it off and spent it on a cup of coffee. Fast forward a few months later, I started getting into coin collecting and learned about the double die error. That's when it hit me. I had one in my hand. But by then, it was too late. That penny was long gone, probably sitting in some vending machine or lost between someone else's couch cushions. Always check your change before you spend it. You never know when you might be holding $1 million coin and trading it in for a bad cup of gas station coffee. The next time you come across a 1984 D Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside. Give it a good look. That tiny coin could be your ticket to an early retirement, a dream vacation, or just the best steak dinner you've ever had. And if you want more tips on finding rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're always digging up new info on coins that could be worth a fortune, and you don't want to miss out. So, grab your spare change, start checking those pennies, and who knows, the next big coin discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. Hey, coin lovers. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket and realizing it's worth a fortune. I mean, we're talking about a life-changing $1.5 million for a single 2007 D Lincoln penny. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Some rare coins slip through the cracks at the US Mint and end up in circulation, just waiting for someone lucky enough to recognize their value. Today, I'm going to tell you all about this incredible penny, why it's worth so much, and how you can check your change for a hidden jackpot. So grab your pennies and let's get started. Now, before you dump your entire piggy bank onto the kitchen table, let's talk about what makes this 2007 D Lincoln penny so valuable. First, the D mint mark tells us this coin was made in Denver. Most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent, but a rare mistake during the minting process changed everything for a small number of them. The key to this coin's insane value lies in a minting error. Some of these pennies were mistakenly struck on a bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc. If you're wondering why that matters, well, let me put it this way: finding a bronze penny in 2007 is like finding an unopened pack of baseball cards from the 1950s with a Mickey Mantle rookie card inside. It's rare, unexpected, and collectors will pay big money for it. I actually had a moment like this once. A few years back, I was digging through some old change from a road trip, because let's be real, who actually spends their change these days? And I found what I thought was just another worn-out penny. Turns out, after some research, it was a 1982 small-date copper penny worth a couple $100. It wasn't retirement money, but hey, free money is free money. That experience taught me to never overlook pocket change. You never know what kind of treasure you might have. So, how do you know if your 2007 D penny is the golden ticket? First, check its weight. A normal zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams, while the rare bronze version comes in at 3.1 grams. You'll need a digital scale to check, and trust me, it's worth the small investment. Next, look at the color. The bronze pennies have a slightly different, richer tone compared to regular ones. Finally, if you think you have one, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm if you've hit the jackpot. Right now, the market for rare pennies is hotter than ever. In recent auctions, the 2007 D bronze penny has fetched up to $1.5 million, and prices could go even higher as collectors compete to own a piece of numismatic history. That's why knowing what to look for is so important. You could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Go grab that jar of change from your car, check under the couch cushions, and start looking for that rare 2007 D Lincoln penny. If you find one, you might just be the next big winner in the coin collecting world. And if you don't, well, at least you'll have some extra change for the vending machine. If you love learning about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories coming your way, and you don't want to miss them. All right, folks, picture this. You're digging through your couch cushions, hoping to find some spare change for a soda or maybe a snack. Instead, you pull out a dusty old penny. No big deal, right? Wrong. What if I told you that penny could be worth a mind-blowing $1.6 million? Yep, today we're talking about the 1964 D Lincoln penny, a coin that could turn an ordinary day into a life-changing one. Now, before you go flipping your couch upside down or raiding Grandma's old coin jar, stick around. We're going to break down why this little copper beauty is so valuable, how to tell if you have one, and of course, what to do if you strike gold, or should I say, copper. I'll never forget the day my buddy Joe called me, absolutely losing his mind. He's not a coin collector, heck, the guy barely checks his pockets for loose change. But one day, he was at the gas station, got some change back, and noticed a weird-looking penny. He figured, maybe it's worth something. Turns out, it wasn't worth millions, but it was still a rare find worth a few $100. That moment right there made him a believer. And that's why I always tell people, check your change. Because you never know when you might come across the jackpot penny like the 1964 D. Lincoln penny worth $1.60 million. All right. So what makes this particular penny so valuable? Great question. Some of these pennies were struck with mistakes that make them highly sought after by collectors. Think doubled dies, misaligned prints, or even the wrong metal composition. A regular 1964 D penny is just a penny. But if you find one in mint state condition, meaning it looks practically brand new, it could be worth a small fortune. Grading agencies like PCGS or NGC determine how pristine a coin is, and if yours scores high, you're in the money. Lincoln pennies are one of the most collected U.S. coins, and when you mix a rare year with a mint error, collectors go crazy. The rarer the coin, the higher the demand, and that means more cash in your pocket. If you've got a 1964 D penny lying around, here's what to check. The D below the date means it was minted in Denver. If it looks crisp, shiny, and nearly flawless, it might be worth sending in for grading. Look for doubled letters, missing details, or any oddities that might indicate a minting mistake. LSO. Let's say you've checked your change, and you think you have one of these rare pennies. What's next? Don't clean it seriously. I know it's tempting to make it look shiny, but cleaning a coin can ruin its value. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to verify its authenticity and condition. Auctions, coin dealers, and private collectors are all potential buyers. If your coin is the real deal, you might just walk away with a life-changing payday. All right, folks, if this hasn't convinced you to start checking your spare change, I don't know what will. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes fortune literally hides in plain sight. If you love learning about rare coins, if you want more tips on coin collecting strategies, or if you just enjoy hearing about everyday folks striking it rich, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more treasure hunting stories and expert tips coming your way. Who knows? Maybe your next pocket full of change could be your retirement plan in disguise. All right, imagine this. You're digging through your loose change, looking for $1 to feed a vending machine. You pull out an old penny, about to toss it back into your pocket. But wait, that tiny little copper coin could be worth a life-changing $1.70 million. Yep, you heard me right. Now, before you start flipping over every penny you own, let me break it down for you. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1986 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the little coin that could buy you a mansion, a fancy sports car, or at the very least, a lifetime supply of tacos. And let me tell you, if there's one thing I love as much as rare coins, it's tacos. But before we get into the juicy details, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on another video about coins that could make you rich. Trust me, you'll want to stay in the loop. So, what's the deal with this 1986 penny? Why is it worth more than most people's houses? Let's get into it. First things first, this isn't just any ordinary 1986 penny. This bad boy is missing a mint mark. Now, most pennies from 1986 were struck at either the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia Mint didn't typically put a mint mark on their pennies, but here's where things get interesting. A handful of these pennies were mistakenly struck without a mint mark under very specific conditions, making them incredibly rare. Think of it like this. Imagine going to a baseball game and catching a home run ball hit by your favorite player. That ball is already cool, right? But what if, by some crazy accident, that player signed the ball upside down before the game? Now suddenly, that baseball is a one-of-a-kind collectible. Same deal with this penny. Here's where things get wild. The value of a rare coin isn't just about its age. It's about rarity, condition, and collector demand. The 1986 no-mint mark penny is incredibly rare, so rare that only a few have surfaced in pristine condition. And when a serious collector wants something bad enough, the price skyrockets. One of these pennies, graded in near-perfect condition, sold at auction for an astonishing $1.7 million. Imagine selling a single penny for that much money. If I found one, I'd probably pass out first, then wake up and start planning my new dream home. Now, I've had my fair share of digging through coins, and let me tell you, I once thought I found a rare penny. I was at a flea market, and this guy had a jar of old coins for sale. My heart started racing because I swore I spotted a rare one. I paid him a couple of bucks for the jar, ran home, and spent hours researching. Spoiler alert, it wasn't rare. It was just a really, really dirty penny. But hey, that's part of the thrill, right? You never know when you'll actually hit the jackpot. And that's why checking your change is so important. You might just have a $1.7 million penny sitting in your piggy bank right now. All right, so how do you know if you have this golden, well, copper, ticket? You need a 1986 penny. If it's from a different year, it's not the one. If there's a little D or S under the date, it's from Denver or San Francisco, and it's not the rare one. The one you're looking for should have an mint mark. If your penny looks like it's been through a war, it's probably not worth millions. The higher the grade, the more valuable it is. If you think you have one, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it in for grading. You don't want to sell a potential fortune for just a few bucks. First, never underestimate the power of pocket change. Second, always check your pennies before spending them. And third, if you ever come across a 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny in perfect condition, you might just be holding a fortune in your hand. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a rare coin? Do you check your change, or are you about to start now? Drop a comment below and let me know where we uncover hidden treasure in plain sight. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss out on another video about coins that could change your life. All right, now go check your pennies. Who knows? You might be sitting on a $1.7 million jackpot.